wheelchair basketball program, that may be one option, but it doesn't have to fundamentally alter the service. It also can't provide a financial burden, so there may be different requirements for a large chain or a large store versus a mom and pop kind of facility, and so those barriers, what they can and can't do to change it to make it accessible, might be a little bit different. But as long as it doesn't pose any undue hardship, if they just need to ramp a few steps or move some equipment around, maybe that means like moving a sign or changing the furniture location, none of that, all of that would be required to be done under Title III of the ADA. All right, a little brain booster time. What % of people with a disability in Kentucky report being inactive? We have our options. So you have A, B, and C. Oops. So you guys can answer. Do you guys think you have an answer? We mentioned it earlier. All right, so your answer is obviously B, 41%.
Almost 42.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to talk about NCHPAD as a resource center, and then we're going to talk about it as a practice center. And we're going to find out what that means. So for NCHPAD next year will be turning 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so forever, for the longest time, NCHPAD has been a resource center. So for 19 years, NCHPAD has been creating different things such as videos about how to access a gym for someone who has a disability. They've created resources for the fitness facility about how to work with someone who has a disability. They created videos about disability etiquette, tons and tons of resources, and we're actually going to talk about some of those. But more recently, we've moved into a practice center, which we'll also eventually get to. But what you have on the screen right now is a figure that shows 4 different phases that NCHPAD works in. And NCHPAD, we call this the NCATS, or the NCHPAD Knowledge Adaptation, Translation, and Scale-Up Framework. And so really what we want to make sure that we're doing is taking all the resources that we've created and making sure that they really are being used and having an impact to create more disability inclusion and access.
So as you mentioned, NCHPAD has always existed as a resource center, and it's just a typical example of what one of our booths might be at one of our national partner organizations conferences. But we really exist to provide those resources to individuals with disability or those working in the field. And so we'll talk about, these are our 5 sectors listed. This is a snapshot kind of our website, and those are the 5 sectors. So we know if you go to our website that it can be a little bit overwhelming to kind of try and find information just because there's just so much information that exists out there. And so we are trying to help kind of narrow that down or just give guidance when people are looking for stuff. So we came up with these 5 sectors. And so if you're looking for specific information on one of these, you would find it by clicking on these. So public health professionals, healthcare providers, educators, individuals and caregivers, and fitness professionals. So if you click on one of those, and we can click on the educators to kind of see what that would look like, and this takes you to their page, and then you can kind of see just all that it has to offer would be specific to folks in the education field. So it's going to have trending topics that aren't our resources necessarily, but others. Down here would be any resources that we have to provide for the teacher, and we're going to go through a lot of those resources in a minute. But then there's always like, hey, I have a specific question in the educator field. You can always click on this Ask a Specialist, and that would go directly to the educator specialist. And so we have that for all of our sectors, and we really want that to provide as a great resource and access for you guys when you have questions in specific areas. So some of the other resources that we create are videos, and these are some of our most popular. And I will play this video. We have a lot of videos, but we may not play all of them. But just a lot of people think in the fitness world or in the recreation world. This one has been really, really interesting, and it is more about inclusive kitchen tips.
My name is Sarah Belser. I'm the home management instructor for the Alabama Freedom Center. So in our kitchen, we have our stove top. Okay, this is our braille label to our stove. They're labeled from medium to low, medium, high, and we also have bump dots, which is where the off button is. We have the keypad numbered and brailled, that way they can adjust the heat temperature. These are from Walmart, like a $3 pair of measuring spoons. I just took a regular knife and I just made 4 notches in them. Just cut it down, super easy. And that way the students, they can take their finger and run it along the side and count how many notches are. And so they know this is the 1/4 spoon because there's 4 notches. So these are our measuring cups. We have 3 notches for 1/3 cup, 2 notches for 1/2 cup, and 1 notch for 1 cup. These are really inexpensive ways.
So I'm going to pause it just because it looked like it was a little bit choppy, but you can kind of see the information that it was giving, our low cost, no cost kind of tips on how to have an inclusive kitchen. And why that's important is we work in a lot of wellness programs that do like inclusive.
Excuse me, ladies, I just want to let you know that your video is coming through perfectly fine if you wanted to play more of it.
Oh, well then, okay, I will, oops, you can go back. I'll continue on. It's super choppy on our end.
My name's Sarah Belser.
Let's see if I can get back where we were.
For 1/2 cup and 1 notch for 1 cup. These are really inexpensive ways to adapt your kitchen and just make things more accessible to everyone. This is a gripper. This is great for if you have limited dexterity and you need to open certain things, you just simply put it on top of the bottle and twist. This is a jar opener. Squeeze it and it opens it easily. This is good for arthritis, limited dexterity, neuropathy from diabetes. This is a pull tab opener. You take the can opener, you put it on the pull top, pull it like that, then you turn it around, put it on again, and it opens the can. We braille label all of our spices. It says garlic powder. Now, if we have students that come in and they don't know their braille, we teach them to smell things. I always encourage all of my students to double check, to feel things, taste things, smell things, just to be 100% sure. So there's an app called Tap Tap See. So you take your phone, you can just wave it in front of the product. It will read garlic powder and it will read the brand and everything else on it. My main goal for this program is for each student that comes in that we equip them with every skill that they need. It really just allows each student to have that sense of independence and confidence that they can do anything that they want to do and they're not limited.
Yeah, so I'm glad I was coming in clear on your end because it certainly wasn't on our end. But just saying again, if you're giving wellness programs, if you're giving cooking demonstrations, that's all good and dandy unless someone doesn't know that they can cook. And so just resources like that can really help just educate the individual or the person giving the program on, hey, I may have this great knowledge about, some healthy cooking tips or something like that, but you don't have the disability background. And that's where these videos can come in. You can just go to YouTube, play them for the folks, and they can see how they can adapt it for themselves, and you guys have the knowledge into whatever field you're working on. This is a whole bunch of resources that we're going to go through, and some I'll talk more in length about some than others. The Community Health Inclusion Index is an assessment tool, and we're going to get to that more in a little bit. We have a whole inclusive worksite wellness. So if you're offering worksite wellness programs, this is just a campaign that kind of educates you on how to make sure that it's inclusive with your wording, your marketing, all of those kind of tactics, examples that they can do. We have the IFT University, which is the Inclusive Fitness Training University. And what we've done is we've packaged up our Certified Inclusive Fitness Trainer certification that we offer through American College of Sports Medicine and put it into a webinar program for our university professors. So it's kind of like a class in a can. And so we offer it to professors and they can use it however they choose to. And then once their students have kind of taken their class and they've used as much of it as they want, their students are pretty much qualified to sit for the exam if they chose to. We also have 5 Meals, 1 Bag, which is a shopping a video and component where they offer 5 different meals, 1 shopping list, and they're able to get it in 1 brown bag. And so folks are maybe new to their disability and they're not quite sure how to navigate life yet and get their groceries into their car when they have all these different things. This shows them a way that they can have healthy, nutritious meals that they're cooking at home and get it all in 1 bag, and so they're not having to deal with all of the extras and still be able to do it. We have a whole media campaign on putting the person first and how to say that. We have a community health inclusion sustainability planning guide, which goes along with the CDC's community health planning guide, and so it kind of just partners with them and puts the inclusion lens on that. We have a whole how-to series, and this is one of probably our most popular series, and it's an individual who uses a wheelchair who teaches just a number of different things. You can even see on this very first one, 278,000 views. That's a huge number for how to choose a wheelchair. Wheelchair pieces on YouTube don't get that kind of viewership, but it's because of the way she delivers it and just the information that she gives. So we found PTs and schools and individuals using this on a regular basis because of the information that it gives. And she has a whole series on these. And one in particular, you can kind of just see she has a free, fun little spirit as she talks.
My name is Allison, and I live a pretty awesome life. I have a wonderful husband, fulfilling job, and I've even traveled the world as an elite athlete. But people are still flabbergasted when they realize I can drive and shop for groceries. Sure, my disability might change the way I do things, but it never diminishes my independence or level of success. I've created a system to conquer this world, one that I'd like to share with you. It might look a little different to the average eye, but who wants to be average? This is me, and this is how I navigate my life. Probably one of my biggest pet peeves of life is when someone uses the term wheelchair bound. Now, I've had many pranks pulled on me, but never have I had someone put super glue in my seat. Learned how to transfer, you probably used a transfer board.
But again, it just provides a resource that wasn't really currently out there on those topics, and because she herself has the disability, it usually resonates with those folks a little bit more. Some other resources, we have a 14-week program. This is a free online workout program. It also provides nutritional recipes, and every week they get an updated recipe and exercise video to do in the home, and so this is really for that person who hasn't learned to be active yet and they're just starting from the basics, and they can sign up for it for free. On the opposite spectrum of that, we have Champions RX, which is a high intensity workout program, and similar to the CrossFit mentality, to where you log in every day and get a different workout for the day. They can log in, they can self-select what level of ability they have, and then go into the workout for the day. We do have a fun little video we'll show for this one. Obviously a little more high intensity, a little bit harder of a workout, but again, it just gives folks an opportunity to know that that's available out there and what to do if they have that question when they go to the gym. We have a whole Doc Talk series for talking to their doctors about their disability, and vice versa for doctors talking to their patients about being physically active if they have a disability. We have a whole series that we'll talk to even more on Discover Inclusive Physical Education, and a ton that we do with educators. We have a Discover Accessible Fitness booklet. We're happy to mail these out at any time. So all of these are available on our website for free. We also have hard copies of some of them, and so if you requested them, we can mail them out. Life on Wheels is kind of a guide for just a healthy life after you've acquired a disability that may require you to be in a chair, or if it was, they may have had their disability for a while and they maybe just don't know kind of how to live life yet. And so it talks about different things. This is just one example of one of the pages in there, and it's designing a program, so how to design their own workout program, how to go to the gym and be independent. It talks about a ton of other things, from stuff you should have in your grab bag at any time, to where you get a sports chair, all that kind of information. Others are, we have a whole campaign on how I walk, rebranding the word walk to be an inclusive term. We also have, there you go, Get the Facts, which is just educates folks on questions they should ask when they're joining a gym, how to make sure it's accessible, how to make sure that the folks who work there are knowledgeable enough to work with them. And then we have a whole series for trainers on just inclusive fitness training tips. So if they are working with clients with a disability and they may not be sure how to do a burpee, or you know, what medicine ball throws might look like for someone who uses a mobility device, it kind of talks them through all of this. So just some examples of the resources that we have. As I mentioned, we have a ton. These are some of the ones that we have for youth in particular. And that active school survey report is through one of our partners, which is Let's Move Active Schools, which you guys may be familiar with. And we just developed a needs assessment survey to kind of understand how schools in their network are providing inclusive physical education. And basically, it was this huge study done with 742 survey responses, which is pretty good in this world. And what they found was just that teachers who teach physical activity or PE really want more resources. They need more resources in order to be a more inclusive class. And so from this report that we did with Let's Move Back to Schools, we are creating these resources. So one of these are that far right is those activity cards. And so it takes Paralympic sports and teaches you how to put them into the classroom. And so every month it comes out with a new activity card and a new sport that can be performed. We also have our Discover Inclusive Playgrounds, which is a whole guidebook on implementing an inclusive playground, from how to get the funding and where to start to what it might need to look like all the way through. So just example of some of our resources for the fitness, recreation, and sport world. We do have quarterly digests. We actually have a quarterly digest for each of our sectors. So public health, healthcare professionals, fitness and health, all of those have one. And so you can kind of just see an example of what that might be. A lot of it could be outside information that folks are writing for our letter, or just inside information as well, but it's more tailored than our general newsletter for these specific target audiences. And if you're interested in subscribing to any of them, all you have to do is go to our website and click Quarterly Digest Subscribe, and it will kind of direct you to that page.
All right. So one of our other resources that we have is called RX for Exercise. And they also recently just added a pediatric piece to it. So they have a website related to kids. But this was in partnership with the Foundation for PM&R. And PM&R stands for Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. So this is with our PM&R doctors. And they really wanted to focus on exercise. And again, you know, Kelly mentioned earlier that we have some videos and resources specifically for doctors already, things that are called Doc Talk. And so we work with the PM&R, or Foundation for PM&R, to one, promote some of these Doc Talk resources, but also created some resources specific for these doctors. And so they actually have prescription pads that the doctors will write on to prescribe exercise or physical activity for their patients who have disabilities. And you can go to their website or the NCHPAD website and ask for some of these prescription pads, but also then to access some of the other resources related to what doctors might need. So there's an actual whole Doc Talk toolbox that can be accessed, where everything is kind of packaged together. We like packages, makes it easy for everyone. So the videos, kind of the how-tos, whether you're the doctor or the patient, and again, things like the prescription pad. And then there's also a commitment that doctors can sign that basically says that if they have patients with disabilities, that they will make the commitment to promote physical activity and exercise. Because again, exercise and physical activity, they're an indicator of health. And so it's really important for doctors to also include people with disabilities. Oh, yeah, and this is an example of those, the prescription pads. And then we have one specific where they can check off what they want the patient to take part in. So like Kelly had talked about the 14 weeks to a healthier you, that can be done online. So if a person is maybe in a rural area or experiences great barriers, such as transportation, which is a major issue here in Birmingham, they can't leave their home to get to a gym, then they can do it online. This video. Yep. Oh, okay. So here's another, just an example of one of our NCHPAD videos and resources that you can use and promote, called How to Choose a Fitness Center.
Becoming physically active can be a challenge, and the first step to that challenge is finding the right fitness center that meets your needs and desires. So today, we're going to walk you through the process, give you some good questions to ask, and take you on a tour of a fitness facility. So, come on, let's go check it out.
Before you visit a potential fitness center, it's important to consider its location, cost, hours of operation, and what features it offers. Once you have narrowed down a few gyms, it's time to take the all-important tour. Most gyms will offer free tours led by a staff member. When arriving at the fitness center, it's important to assess the outside of the facility as well as the inside. Is there ample accessible parking? Are there curb cuts? Is the parking lot level? Once you enter the fitness center, pay close attention to every aspect of the facility and walk through the building just like you would if you were there to work out.
Nice to meet you. How can I help you today?
I'm here. I'm interested in joining your fitness center.
Anything in particular you're interested in?
I would like to use your equipment and machines, but also interested in the different classes that you offer,
okay.
And how inclusive they might be for me with my disability.
Okay, we have a wide variety of classes that are located throughout the building. As we take a look around, we'll be able to see how inclusive they are for you.
This track is actually a nice surface for people who use wheelchairs. Can we see some of the cardio equipment?
Sure. Well, we can start right here.
So I noticed that you have an arm bike here that I can use. Are there any other arm bikes available in case this one's occupied?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And there's a lot of equipment in here, but I've noticed that it's kind of tight and close together, and it might be difficult for me to get to the machine, especially if someone else is on it. Do you think there's any way that we could move the machines out a little wider, or is there a more open area where I could use a machine?
Well, I think we can look at both. We'll try other areas. We'll see where there's other pieces of equipment that you can use. But then if that doesn't work, we'll work to accommodate you in this area.
Perfect. And when I'm using a machine like this, normally I like to stay in my chair. So would I be able to move this seat away, and would a staff member be able to do that for me?
Yes. So if you can't move this, we'll be happy to accommodate. We have staff that are around so we can get this moved for you.
Perfect. Okay, let's check out those other areas.
Okay, let's go.
I like how all of your weight equipment is facing outward so I can easily access it, but a lot of these seats are small. Do you have any machines that the seats can be removed so I can just roll right up to them?
Great question. I don't see any on this level, but some of our other equipment upstairs, the seats may be able to be removed. But maybe for the same kind of experience, you could use the cable equipment.
I can lower the cables and do the same workout on this machine that I can do on the machine over here.
Let me show you the accessible family room, bathroom, and shower.
Okay, I didn't see on the signage that it was accessible, so I wasn't sure if it was accessible.
That's a very good point. There's a private lavatory, and then the sinks, and then change table for babies. And then in here is the private shower.
I like the bench here, and the adjustable shower head. Yeah, this is great, not just for me, but I have a child, so I can bring him, change him in here, and have privacy so we can both be able to use it.
All right, so this is our pool.
Nice. I actually didn't really think about swimming as a good form of physical activity, but this will be a great way for me to get out of my chair, get in the water, and participate kind of equally with everyone else. What temperature is the water? I have trouble, because of my disability, regulating my body temperature.
We keep the temperature at about 83, 84.
That's perfect.
This is one of our group fitness rooms. We have several in the building.
Do any of your instructors have certifications to work with people with disabilities?
It's a great question, and I don't know the answer. They have class certifications, of course, but I'm not sure if they're qualified to work with different disabilities.
Okay, and do you think that the instructors would be willing to make adaptations to the class so I can participate?
For sure.
Perfect.
So I hope you got all the information you needed. Do you have any additional questions?
I don't think so. Well, I noticed that, there is a limited amount of equipment and classes that are offered that I can participate in. Can I get a reduced membership rate?
That's not something we've done before. I'd hope that we would make it accessible, but that's something we can definitely look at.
Okay, and do you think before I commit to membership, I could maybe have a trial membership just to see and make sure that this is going to be a good fit for me?
Well, we haven't done that either, but you know what? Again, that's something that we can look at.
Okay, well, I appreciate you taking the time to show me around. I've learned a lot, and I'll be getting back with you.
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
The most important thing to remember is that becoming physically active is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It may take some time to find the right fitness center and become comfortable using it.
But the more you step out of your comfort zone, try new things, the more rewarding achieving your physical fitness goals is going to be. So, happy working out.
All right, so we're about to take a 10-minute break, but I just want to wrap up by saying, well, one, all of these videos, well, that one is really focused for a person with a disability. Picking out a gym, it's still a really great resource for as a training tool for fitness staff or even recreation facilities. So maybe not just fitness, but recreation as well, because they really highlight in that video lots of different things that need to be considered related to accessibility and inclusion. And so NCHPAD, we have tons and tons of resources. If there's questions about those resources, or like Kelly said, a lot of them can be accessed for free, and we do mail them out. You can definitely contact NCHPAD on the website. We have a 1-800 number as well as a live chat so you can, or an email, of course. And so anyone with questions or wanting more access to resources can always just contact NCHPAD. Great, and we're going to take a 10-minute break. So it is 2:03 your time, so we'll come back at 2:13.
And we are going to play a video during this break, so you're free to watch it if you want, or if you take a break, feel free to do so.
Hey, this is Melee. Welcome to the awesome Melee Show. These top 10 tips all about whatever person has a disability.
Hey, Kelly, sorry to bother you guys, but we can't see the video.
Do with a person that doesn't have a disability.
And I will change which one I'm sharing.
Always treat me with the same respect.
Oh, we can see it now if you want to restart it.
Would.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Melee. Welcome to the awesome Melee Show. These top 10 tips all about whatever person has a disability. You can talk to them normally as you do with a person that doesn't have a disability. Do you want me to say number one? Number one, always treat me with the same respect you would give to anyone else. Say if I were different, okay? So you would treat me the same if anybody else was normal but just a little bit different. You always have to be nice and respectful about that other person. Number 2 is speak to me directly rather than my parent or aide. Say it to me. I'm not shy or anything. Here's number 3. Establish an open communication about my abilities and limitations. It's okay to ask me things that I cannot and can do. It won't hurt my feelings. What's number 4? Don't be afraid to ask questions. What do you want to know? Because I'll tell you. Because I'd rather be asked than ignored. Number 5. Don't assume that a person has additional disabilities just because you can see that they can have one. Just because I have one disability doesn't mean that I have all of them, okay? Don't worry, we're halfway through. Offer me a choice, but don't over-adapt. So, like basketball or swimming. I don't know, I just made that up. So, you don't want to over-adapt it. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, no, I want to do that. You don't do that. I still want it to be a challenge. Don't mistake my disability for a serious illness or disease. Come here close. I gotta tell you something. Just closer. That's not a runny nose. I don't have a cough. I'm not sick. I'm not gonna get better. You can't really catch it, see? You can't catch it. It's just me, and I'm awesome. Now that we got that covered, are you ready for number 8? Number 8, don't be afraid to ask for help, because let's just be honest, you may need it. If you don't know what you're doing, you need to ask. Number 9, sometimes it may take me a little longer, but just give me some time. I will get through this. I will get it done. Be patient. All right, this is the last tip. Are you ready? Number 10, never ever assume that you know everything about disabilities. Because you know what they say about assume. Never assume, because every person is unique and different. I hope you learn lots of things about disabilities. This is the end of the Mary Show.
A cup of coffee in the morning, and I get the paper. I check the headlines and decide that I am bored. I check my email and I decide to answer